Tyler Jones here on this special edition of Seahawks Today by Chat Sports, reacting to the Seahawks signing Devin Bush early this morning. This is an at-home edition of the program. It's my off day, but we wanted to get you some thoughts on this move by the Seattle Seahawks to bring in Devin Bush to their roster. The Seahawks been very active in free agency to this point, and we knew going into this free agency period, the Seahawks only had so much they could do with the cash that they had, as they had to save some, obviously, for the upcoming NFL draft with the 9-10 picks that they have there in the draft. But nonetheless, they make this move at the linebacker position. And I know what you're thinking right away. At least my first thought on the Seahawks bringing in Devin Bush and making this signing is, okay, you filled a need at linebacker, but it's the wrong linebacker, okay? I mean, that's Devin Bush, not Bobby Wagner with this move here. So I know there comes a bit of disappointment of some sorts with the Seahawks making this move to go with Devin Bush and not the signing of Bobby Wagner here. And with the moves that the Seahawks have made, with the money they've already spent elsewhere, it seems highly unlikely at this point the Seahawks now will go get Bobby Wagner here, that Devin Bush is going to be their guy. And we knew that the Seahawks had a need at the linebacker position that was much discussed with Jordan Brooks, with the injury situation of not sure when he necessarily was going to come back, as the last update we heard was the progress from his late season ACL injury was not going that great. And of course, Cody Barton ended up signing with the Washington Commanders, so you needed to get at least one, probably a couple of those linebacker options for the Seahawks. And so now you take care of one with Devin Bush, and you're probably going to end up drafting some more linebackers as well, one or two potentially for the Seahawks. But this appears to be the decision that they've made to go this route. And so with that, I'll be honest here, I think I feel like most of you guys, this is not the guy that we all wanted necessarily in Devin Bush, that we had guys that were much more intriguing, like Bobby Wagner. That would have been so exciting to have Bobby back, but ultimately the Seahawks go this route with Devin Bush for the point being. I got some numbers for you, got some stats, got some in-depth analysis on this, but first, want you guys to weigh in the comments section. What is your one-word reaction to the Seahawks signing Devin Bush? Give me one word to describe it all, what you think of what they did to make this decision. My one word is, meh. I mean, I'm not excited about this. This is not the guy that I wanted the Seahawks to bring in. What say you? Give me your one-word reaction to the Seahawks signing Devin Bush. Let me know in the comments section what that one word is. Folks, this is why you subscribe. Look, I'm off today, but I'm at home. We had to react to this news. I had to give you my thoughts on this move by the Seattle Seahawks. And so if you can do me any favor today, it would be to subscribe to the channel. Doesn't matter if we're in studio. Doesn't matter if we're at home on my off day. We're going to bring you Seahawks coverage. When news breaks, we let you know about it, and we cover it like no one else does with the latest happenings with your favorite team. We've been all over free agency this week. We had a couple live shows. We've had plenty of videos and content all week long. We're going to be all over any trade possibilities. We're also getting ready for the NFL draft. This is a very important draft for your Seattle Seahawks. This is the channel for you. If you haven't subscribed already, you need to. Subscribe for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV to subscribe for free today. Here's some of the numbers on Devin Bush. Let me go over this for you here. So you go back to 2019 when he was a rookie for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he had a very good rookie year. He was the Pro Football Writers Association all-rookie team member with the performance that he put up that year. Played in all 16 games for Pittsburgh, had 109 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and 4 fumble recoveries along with 2 interceptions. Fantastic rookie season, right? But since then, he's left a lot to be desired. We haven't seen that Devin Bush since that rookie year in Pittsburgh. You go back to this season, played in all 17 games. And what were the numbers? 81 tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, no interceptions. Nothing from Devin Bush. Now, maybe he needs a change of scenery. Maybe the Seahawks can get something out of him and get the Devin Bush that we saw in his rookie year. But you could argue that Devin Bush, since his rookie season, has regressed, that he's not the player that he was a couple of years ago. And to me, that is concerning. I think if you're Seattle, the silver lining in all this is that he's still a very young player. This will be his 5th season in the NFL. And so maybe with some new coaching around him, maybe a new scheme and these things, you can get a spark going. And we could potentially see that Devin Bush that we saw a few years ago. I think you're hopeful for that. But the truth of the matter is that Devin Bush is not been the same player that he was a few years ago. Hopefully you can get that out of him. If the Seahawks are getting the Devin Bush that they saw his rookie season and can get that type of production, then I think you're feeling really good. Then, okay, maybe you found a bargain buy at that point. If you're getting the Devin Bush we saw in 2019. But if you're getting the Devin Bush that we saw last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, then I would be very disappointed. Then I'd be saying to myself, oh, great. That doesn't make me feel so good, okay? So we'll see. Maybe Pete Carroll and John Schneider saw something they liked. Remember, he took that visit at the team facility yesterday, and they worked him out and went through all that. Maybe there was something, obviously there was something that they liked in him. With that said, how would you grade the signing? For me, I don't feel great about this signing, especially considering that we all sat here and wanted Bobby Wagner to come back so bad. Understood the Seahawks spent money elsewhere and didn't necessarily have the cash to bring Bobby Wagner back with the money that they spent on other positions. But with that said, I don't feel great. It's at best a C. And honestly, it could be worse. I would probably take Devin Bush over Cody Barton, but, I mean, that's not really saying much, is it? How would you grade the signing? Let me know in the comment section what you think of the Seahawks signing Devin Bush and bringing him to Seattle. Grade the signing for me, A, B, C, D, or F. Some final thoughts before we wrap this one up. The Seahawks with the moves that they've made so far to this point. Obviously, the Draymond Jones thing was a big deal. Jaron Reed, of course. Those are your 2 biggest outside signings that you've made. You re-signed Geno Smith. You re-signed Drew Lock. And now this Devin Bush deal. I think the Seahawks probably are who they are at this point. I don't think that they'll make any more major free agency moves. They made the cuts they could to try to free up some money, to go get some cash, to spend on some players. But I think they are kind of who they are at this point. And remember, like we said going into free agency, and this did not change, the priority of this Seattle Seahawks team and where they're headed in 2023 and beyond is about building through the draft and getting the most out of their draft picks and having those young players, using those young contracts, and build a young core to get this thing going for a long time. And the Seahawks, throughout this free agency period, maybe you didn't like the Jaron Reed signing. Maybe you thought they overpaid on Draymond Jones. Maybe you're like me and you're not so high on the Devin Bush signing. All that understood. But remember, the priority here for Seattle is draft. In last offseason, we saw John Schneider and Pete Carroll knock it out of the park for what they did through the draft. So John and Pete, I really hope you guys are doing a great job when it comes to scouting and finding what you're looking for in this draft, because that's where the offseason is going to be won for the Seattle Seahawks. Free agency, they've made some moves, and they started off with a bang with that Draymond Jones signing. That was a big deal. But now where you're really going to win, where you're going to build for your future, is the draft. So now I think here we are, day 5, free agency frenzy. Let's see what the Seahawks do when it comes draft time. That does it for this special edition of Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time here on the channel. If any news breaks during my off days, we'll set up shop and do an at-home video like this right here. Otherwise, I'll be back in studio here in a couple days, and we'll talk about all the latest happenings with your Seattle Seahawks. Stay tuned to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today.